So the next validation we're going to look at is called required, and it does pretty much what it says on the tin. The required validation check means that you cannot leave a field empty. It cannot be blank. You have to have it. Sometimes you see this if you were filling out a form on Google, and it tends to have a little star at the end, so you have to enter it. You tend to use the validation check when it's an important field that you mustn't leave blank. So it might, for example, be name or address or telephone number. So let's see on my database table where I can put in the required validation. Well, to do all my validations, I need to do it in the design view. So I click on view and go to design view, and I'm going to do it for class name. So if I click on class name to make sure I've selected that particular field, and then go down to general, and you should see somewhere down the bottom required. There it is in the properties, and the default is set at no. In other words, it always is no, so you need to click on the down arrow and change it to yes. Now that would seem all you have to do, except there's another property here that says allow zero length. Now zero length strings, as it says over here, are those where there's nothing entered. So what we must make sure we do if we're going to use required is change that to no. So what that means is the value in the class name has to be entered and I cannot leave it blank. So I need to save this by going up and pressing save. Now it tells me the rules have changed, and it's just giving me a warning to say it might affect the data I've got in here. I'm going to press yes. Then I'm going to go back into the view, the datasheet view, and let's see if it works. So I did it for class name, so I'm going to delete this one here. And let's see whether I can move to another field or if I get a message. So if I press tab, there we go. I must enter a value in fitness name, class name field. I cannot leave it blank. So I cannot move on from here unless I put a value in. Like that. So I put back my value, press tab, and there we go. So that is the required validation. And please remember that in order to make this work, you have to make sure that the zero length is set to no and not to yes. Let me just show you what happens if you do leave this as yes. I'll save it, go back to the view, I'll change that jive one again. Now if I go to the next field, you can see I can leave it blank. So I must always remember to change that to no. Now, last thing, the required validation is very similar to a validation rule called is not null, and you may want to explore that instead in the other video.